On this 2019 to 2024 Ram 1500 Classic with the 3.6 Pentastar P0013 points to the bank 1 camshaft 2-position actuator control circuit. In plain terms, the PCM is seeing a possible open or shorted condition in the VVT exhaust solenoid control side. The truck may turn the MIL on, and if it is stop/start, that system will be disabled while this code is active. Drive symptoms can vary, but this type of fault often comes down to connector condition, the solenoid control circuit, the solenoid ground circuit, the VVT exhaust solenoid itself, or, after the rest of the path checks out, the PCM side of the circuit. Start with the basic system checks, and if other codes are present, check what they mean first so you are not chasing a symptom of another problem. For this code, treat the running conditions as monitor gates. The diagnostic runs continuously with the engine running, and battery voltage greater than 10.4 volts. The fault sets when the PCM detects an open or shorted condition on the VVT exhaust solenoid 1/2 control circuitry. Also keep this in mind. For the PCM to run this diagnostic, the cam and crank signals need to be locked with no sensor faults present. A missing or erratic CMP or CKP signal is not the repair path for this circuit fault, and replacing either sensor will not fix this vehicle for this code. First, read codes in all electronic control units and record the scan data. Save the scan report and the related recorded data so you have the conditions that came with the failure. Clear the codes, turn the ignition off for a minimum of 10.0 seconds, turn it back on, then operate the vehicle under the captured conditions that set P0013. Read the codes again. If P0013 comes right back, continue with the circuit checks. If it does not return, treat it as an intermittent condition, and do not force a hard fault diagnosis that is not there. With the ignition off, go straight to the VVT exhaust solenoid 1/2 connector. Before unplugging it, make sure it was fully seated and locked. Then disconnect it and inspect for pushed out, damaged, or spread terminals. If you find a terminal issue, repair the terminal or reconnect and lock the connector correctly, then retest and verify the repair. If the connector and terminals are good, move on to isolating the control circuit. Keep the ignition off. Disconnect the PCM harness connector and every component that contains the control circuit, while leaving inline connectors connected for this part of the check. Use the circuit path to guide the test, and connect the GPEC diagnostic adapter 10436 to the proper PCM harness connector. With the circuit isolated, there should be no continuity between the K276 control circuit and any other circuit. Put one DVOM lead on the K276 control circuit at the PCM harness connector, then probe the other circuits at that connector with the other lead. If you find continuity to another circuit, repair the short between the circuits that show continuity, using inline connectors to help narrow down the location, then verify the repair. If there is no continuity to another circuit, continue. Next, with the ignition off, disconnect the exhaust solenoid harness connector and the PCM harness connector. Check continuity between ground and the K276 control circuit at the exhaust solenoid harness connector. If there is continuity to ground, repair the VVT exhaust solenoid 1/2 control circuit for a short to ground, then verify the repair. If there is no continuity to ground, the next concern is an open or high resistance in that control circuit. Now isolate and load test the VVT exhaust solenoid 1/2 K276 control circuit. Do not load test any circuit while components are still connected to that circuit. The load test bulb should be illuminated and bright if there is no resistance in the circuit, and you compare that brightness to a direct connection to battery. If the bulb is not illuminated and bright, repair the K276 control circuit for an open or high resistance, then verify the repair. If the bulb is bright, continue to the ground circuit. For the ground side, disconnect the exhaust solenoid connector to isolate the ground circuit. Connect the positive lead of the load test tool to the positive side of the battery, and connect the negative lead to the Z908 ground circuit at the exhaust solenoid connector. Again, the bulb should be illuminated and bright compared to a direct battery connection. To be certain the circuit is good, use a simple voltage drop test across the 3156 bulb of the load test tool. A 12-volt test light can be substituted only if it loads the circuit enough. Many high-impedance test lights draw less than 0.1 amps and are not reliable for this. The tool being used should draw more than approximately 0.75 amps. If the bulb is not illuminated and bright, repair the Z908 ground circuit for an open or high resistance, then verify the repair. If the ground circuit passes, continue. At this point in the path, the control circuit and ground circuit have passed the checks. Replace the VVT exhaust solenoid 1/2, then reconnect the exhaust solenoid and PCM connectors. Turn the ignition on, clear the codes, turn the ignition off for a minimum of 10.0 seconds, turn it back on and operate the vehicle under the conditions that set the code. Read codes again. If P0013 does not return, the faulty component was the repair. Verify the repair and confirm the code stays gone. If P0013 does return, continue with connection checks at the PCM and related connectors. Before condemning the PCM, check for any applicable bulletins and inspect the related connections carefully. Disconnect all PCM harness connectors, related inline connectors if equipped, and related component connectors. Look for poor connector installation, damaged locks, corrosion, water intrusion, whether seal damage, bent terminals, overheating, or discoloration from a poor connection, terminals pushed back into the cavities, spread terminals, and poor terminal tension. Repair anything you find. Then reconnect the PCM connectors, inline connectors, and component connectors, making sure they are fully seated and locked. Clear the codes, operate the vehicle under the monitor conditions, and read codes again. If P0013 does not return, the wiring or poor connection problem has been repaired. If it does return after this path, replace and program the PCM using the proper programming process. Then verify the repair and confirm the code stays gone. The clean way through P0013 is to prove the fault is active. Inspect the solenoid connector, isolate the K276 control circuit, load test both the control and Z908 ground circuits, and only then move to the solenoid and final PCM-side checks. Keep the verification steps separate so you know whether the repair actually held. For more diagnostic training, visit stepdiagnostics.com.